years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back. Y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Man, we got a special guest.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic
Tom
that's
Brady
different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Yeah, y'all already know, man. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We got a special guest, the return of the ultimate Raider fan 32, also known as Turf, man. Appreciate you coming through, my guy. What's going on? We got to give you the Raider salute, man, real quick.
Absolutely, man.
What's going on, man? How you been, bro?
I've been great, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on, man, and the invite, man. I'm super excited to chop it up with y'all. You know, I love hopping on with you too.
Yeah, man. Hey, we got a lot to talk about, man. I mean, the Raiders, the team, you know, they continue to lose. They lost their 6th straight game. But, you know, in the streets here, man, the NFL streets, the word out on the street is that, you know, the Raiders already kind of have their eye on a coach. We'll talk about that in a second. Obviously, Tom Brady, his role and how big that is moving forward. We talked about it, like we speculated and we had that conversation, like what it might mean. But now it sounds like it's pretty much official. Like Tom Brady will have a very, very big influence on the Raiders making moves moving forward. But we'll get a chance to talk about all that, especially the Raiders losing against the Dolphins. I mean, another week, another Raider loss, man. But it's not a bad thing, though. It's not a bad thing. But before we get into it, we gotta shout out the night crew. Mood over Miami, man. He wants to say hello to everybody. Appreciate you coming through. Also, hey, man, if you haven't already, man, make sure to check out the 50-50 shop, man. It is live. Go ahead and check out the website. You'll get your Raiders gear, all that good stuff, man. Definitely check it out. Raider Way in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through, my guy. Daniel Kim, the king of mods, in the building, man. Saluting everybody, man. And Turf, man, we got some questions, man, because because I know we gonna get into it, man. We not get into it. We're gonna have a good conversation. We're gonna have a good conversation. Let's just say that,
Absolutely,
man.
Always
Austin
do.
in the building.
Always do.
Yeah, Queen just not gonna let it go. She's just not gonna let it go. She got jokes. We'll just leave it at that. She got jokes.
Okay.
Man, we got Raider Rundown in the building, man. We got to get him on here soon, man. He said y'all got my dog Unk in the ear, man. Yeah, for sure. We had to.
For sure.
It's cracking.
It's only right. It's only right.
There you go. We got New England. I'm assuming NE. So New England Raider boosters, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate you coming through. SoCal Sal in the building.
Turf me through the woods.
Yep. There you go.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
There you go, man. We got everybody pulling up today, man. Hey, let's not waste any time, man. The Raiders lost their 6th straight game against the Dolphins. It's funny because we have Turf. We have weekly game picks on Around the Shield. Make sure to check out Around the Shield every Fridays with me, Big Mike, and Severe. And we picked the games, and Severe picked the Dolphins to win, and Big Mike's picked the Dolphins to win. But I picked the Raiders to win. I was like, man, fresh off a bye. I'm they got a new maybe they got a new like offensive coordinator now, and I'm just like, but it's just different week, same Raiders, man. I think there was an improvement in the offense. It felt like there was a little bit of an improvement, especially the Raiders just came out the bye and was like, let's get Brock Bowers involved, and that's the guy that we're going to pass it to every down. But what were your thoughts, Turf, on the game and how the outcome of that?
It was exactly what I expected, to be honest. It's the same song for the same team. They start out well. The first half is always fire. The big difference is, like you stated, though, the offense. In my opinion, there was literally only one play that I actually had beef with, and that was running Bowers on that jet sweep right after he had just caught a 10-yarder up the middle. It's like, give the man a break. You know what I'm saying? And it was all sloppy. He lost 3 yards. It was right. So, but that was literally the only play that I saw. I thought Norv and company did a fabulous job, man. There were no ignorant plays. I mean, all the screens worked well. As y'all saw, JPJ was wilding out there. It was a beautiful sight to see of what's to come for the future.
Yeah. Now I hear you. Now my question is did you see any improvement in the run game? Is there anybody do you believe in anybody in this running back room? Because I know you're big on the running backs, but not on this. I don't know. I'm not sure if you're big on the running backs on this team. Like, if you could speak to that a little bit.
It's the problem is there's no rhythm, there's no rhyme, there's no reason. Severe said it best, in my opinion. I mean, you don't go from having a sample size of what Zamir White had the last half of the season and then just go to straight garbage. It doesn't really work that way. It's very obvious the offensive line still isn't where it needs to be just yet. And now they also have yet another scheme to work with and deal with, in another playbook, right? Another coordinator that's going to put his, sprinkle on things. So nothing's going to gel until probably another 3-4 weeks, as far as the running game is concerned. The passing game should be Jacoby and Bowers all day.
Yeah.
Maybe some trick plays with, Turner and Tucker, but that's about it. I never viewed Tucker as a real number 2 wide receiver anyways.
Right.
So, but I was happy with the play calling. I thought there was improvement for sure. Minshew is good for giving you a turnover. Like, he's good for exactly what he did. And if you're throwing the ball 40 times, you're going to lose. That's
right.
With Minshew, you're going to lose. So, improvements in where I wanted to see it. Yeah, but it's the same old same for, Minshew, offensive line, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, the offense wasn't like spectacular, but I think the big letdown this game was the defense. I felt like the defense really came out. They weren't as good as they were in some games this season, where you could probably point to the offense being the real reason why the Raiders lost. But I felt like there were moments in the game, especially the moment where I had to step away because I already knew what was coming, was that blown coverage I think it was in the fourth quarter. I forgot. I think it was the Dolphins tight end was running wide.
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith, who was killing it. And I think, Severe, you actually called it out too. You said that was a player that, that the Raiders needed to look out for, and he was definitely a playmaker for the Dolphins on Sunday, man. If you want to speak to that, like, is Patrick Graham? Do you put a lot of criticism on Patrick Graham just because, like, I feel like the season that, like, we've had issues like stopping the run all season, and I feel like there's been certain moments where the Raiders defense just haven't been the same defense they were last year. Do you put that on Patrick Graham, or is it more so on the players?
So I talked about this after the game on Sunday, right? I had run down in 8:05 when we were talking about it, and we were talking about just how we were getting killed on third down. And I brought up the point that before the Dolphins game, it's probably gotten worse now. But look at the numbers pre-Dolphins game, we were like 11th on third in the league in terms of third down. And if you look at total yards given up, we were like 12th or 13th in the league. And that's with, missing Malcolm Kuntz, who's our second best pass rusher, or Christian Wilkins, who was our best interior defender. And then Marcus Epps, who was the guy that makes all the calls in the back of the defense, with him going down. And, like Max Crosby being hobbled for a while. And so all these injuries, and we were still able to be, for all intents and purposes, a serviceable defense. I just think we ran into a matchup where the Dolphins, they haven't really had a Tyreek Hill fully healthy for a little while. They haven't had Tua all the way back. Devin Achane is, before he got hurt last year, he was destroying the league. We know what Raheem Mostert does. I think last year he led the league in rushing touchdowns or something like that. Jonnu Smith at one point was considered a top 5 tight end. Got Jalen Waddle, who's one of the better number 2 wide receivers in the league. And then you got Mike McDaniel, who runs a scheme that is, that's very hard to deal with. He uses a lot of motion, a lot of pick plays, a lot of ghost motions, like all that stuff to kind of confuse you. And you got all these new players on the field. It's kind of tough to deal with. So that's why you kept seeing some miscommunications like that. It happened a few times. So I think, some of that is coaching. Like I said, Mike McDaniels, I think he runs like pre-snap motions like 80% of the time. So you should know, you should be game planning to deal with that. But then you're missing Jacorian Bennett. You're missing Nate Hobbs. D-Cam's getting his first real action. Darnay Holmes getting his some extended time out there. So it's hard when you're mixing all these new pieces and you don't really have, like the guy that was kind of making it work in terms of communication was Epps. You don't even have that guy out there. You have Palomar, who's still learning and growing in that role. So that's why you see some of these busted coverages. So, I mean, some of it is coaching. Because like I said, Mike McDaniel is going to run motion. Like, that's going to happen. But like I said, sometimes it's X. I mean, it's not the X's and O's. It's the Jesses and the Joes. And we just ran into a team that's much better than what their record says they are.
Yeah, that's true, man. The Raiders did go down to like who was on the field? Sam Webb and the Cameron Richardson. Jacorian Bennett got hurt early on. Who you can argue Jacorian Bennett is probably their best cover corner on the team
fact right now.
Yeah, like he's played well all season long, and the fact that he would go down early, especially against a talented receiving core like the Dolphins, that was just a tough loss they couldn't overcome. But that being said, look, we've been saying this as of lately. Like, Raiders losing is not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? Especially when we need the most important position in football, and that's quarterback. And we seen on hey, look, Minshew's gonna Minshew at some point. He's gonna do something where you're gonna be like, oh, bro, like, what are you doing? What kind of, and it is what it is. The Raiders are with every loss are going to get closer to getting a possibly top quarterback in the draft. But Arnie has a question. He says, "What do we need to change to improve our rushing attack?" Turf, you want to take this?
The whole entire left side of the offensive line.
Hey, yeah, man, I might have to. Hey, bro, I think that deserves this, bro. Because you going at Colton Miller, Mr. Consistent.
I mean, and I understand. I just, for whatever reason, my gut tells me that his days are over, and we're gonna get injured, can't play the whole season guy probably for the rest of his career at some point.
Right.
He's already compensating as it is, right? And don't get me wrong. I mean, he's probably coming along better. I can't stomach watching him. It's between him and Mumford. I don't know which one is worse sometimes on how they've been getting dragged all season. So, and don't get me wrong, because this also falls on, like we've been saying, coaching, right? James Craig, he's gone. I was a big supporter of him, right? The Montana guy. Didn't work out. I mean, was it his fault? For all we know, he didn't want to run the system he was being told, right? We'll never know the very intricate details, and we shouldn't. That's right in-house. You've all played on the sport, a team, right? That's these certain things you keep in-house, man. But yeah, he had to be the fall guy because the offensive line is completely trash. So, they did do the right thing. No, you're asking what should we do? They started out doing the right thing. JPJ is at his natural position. Leave him, right? I like Glaze. Parham, man. Who knows? It's just. We just won't know until they have a real offseason gel and get out there as a unit. They're not a unit right now.
Right. No, I hear you, man. It starts in the trenches. Severe, if you have something to chime in on it.
Yeah, man. I was looking at the film, and it's just and AP said it post game, and that was one of the clips I was thinking about grabbing for notable quotables, but I went in a different direction. But this is like the 6th or 7th different iteration of the starting offensive line, and when you're running a zone scheme, it's very it's imperative that those guys kind of working on a string, right? They're reading the same thing, that they're seeing the same thing, and then they're going out there and executing. Then also, man, what I peeped, Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers too, but those guys, they weren't executing their blocks in the run game well. So that was throwing us off. And then there was a few times where Madison missed some holes. There was a time where Zamir missed a big cutback lane. So it kind of goes, like we talk about it, but I don't think people realize that, when you run a ball, it really does take all 11 guys out there doing their job. And, right now, it only takes 1 or 2 guys not doing their job for the entire play to fall apart. And that's what we've been having. We've been having 1 or 2 guys not execute a block properly, or, not kick the guy out far enough, or, a guy not reading the cutback lane, and then, the play is done. So it's going to take more time on task. I know they're working at it. At this point, the season is already a wash. So, does it really matter at this point if they get the run game going, because they're not in a position to really do anything.
Raider Vision says, let's be real. AP sold us a Mercedes and we got a beat down Honda Civic. Why say violent, ill intent, et cetera, et cetera? This was not what we signed up for hiring him. We were sold a good season under AP. Fire him. Yeah, it is kind of funny. Like we heard all that talk by AP, and that that's just AP. I mean, that's just naturally who he is. It's all good. But at the end of the day, like we're not winning games, so it just looks crazy when we talk that like that and we're not winning games. But that being said, does he have a quarterback?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do the Raiders have the most talented roster in the NFL? No. And is he in charge of that? No. So it's kind of like, on one end, I'm like, yeah, I hear where you guys coming from. Is AP the future? We don't know, but at the same time, like, how can you really judge him when we don't have what we need? We don't have the tools to win consistently.
Exactly.
That's the problem that people are missing. Like, or they're missing that at least. But Turf, I mean, where are you at with this, man? How do you feel about AP and him moving forward as the head coach for the Raiders? Do you think he should get another year, or do you think?
100%. I'll keep mine short and sweet on AP. I mean, or any rookie head coach for that matter. See, this is the problem. You praised and wanted him based on what he did, but didn't comprehend and understand that he was going to make mistakes as a rookie head coach, right? Regardless of who's pulling the strings, regardless of whether he's making all of the decisions or not. So that's the bed you got to lie in. And that's why it's hilarious to me for people that want to go ahead and do the exact same thing and go get like a Ben Johnson or some other rookie head coach to have to go through the same growing pains. It's, I said it in one show before. It's like getting a puppy. We all know what that is. We know what that feels like. Right. Your carpets are getting ruined. Some shoes are getting torn up, right? It's no different with a rookie anything. Even when they're great. You don't think Bowers is going to mess up before the season is over? He absolutely will drop something important. He absolutely will miss a block. Yes. We've already talked about him not doing it right now. So come on, guys. It's just ludicrous to think somebody's going to take over a national football team. You know what I'm saying? And overnight, now all of a sudden come with a 10 and some odd record when they weren't even given that team like y'all stated to begin with. It's going to take time. And he's in this whole talk about him talking tough. None of these people he picked. Not a single one of these players was his absolute pick. Not a single one. So True. Because he's saying he wants them to be tough and they're not producing, it's not his fault. I mean, and y'all are right. That is the one thing he's saying. So why aren't we holding the players accountable for not being violent?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Works both ways.
And it's not like the team isn't playing hard. Like I can understand if they're like the Carolina game, I think you kind of question their effort. But since then, I haven't seen them not play hard, right? I've seen them make mental errors. And you want to blame the coaches. I've actually seen them commit penalties for being too aggressive, at times. So I don't think it's a situation where they're not out there playing with physicality or violence or ill intent. But, that's only half of the battle. The other half is execution, attention to detail. That's the other part of it. And I don't think, we have enough of that going on. And part of the problem is that people look at what he did last year when he took over as the interim job and he named Bo Hardegree, as the interim offensive coordinator, right? We were essentially running the same system, and we had been running that same system a year before. So they were essentially a year and a half into that system, and all Bo Hardegree did was essentially just taper that system down, simplify it, and call plays based off of that. And that worked, right? It worked. It worked for Aiden. It hella worked for Zamir White, who I pointed out, led the league in yards and yards per carry over those final games. So that was a recipe. But this year, you kind of had to hit the reset. And you're re-going through those growing pains of implementing a new system, trying to get guys to buy in, get guys to kind of forget what they learned and then learn something new. And sometimes that's a very, very difficult thing to do. So, and if we fire AP and get rid of all these guys, guess what? We're going to be doing the same thing next year, except it's going to be offensively and defensively next year instead of just offensively.
Yeah, good point, man. And that, I guess we can segue into it because it's perfect. Austin is bringing it up too. He says if we do end up moving on and taking a flyer on Vrabel, do you think he brings in Brian Daboll? So let's start with the first part. Let's start with Mike Vrabel. So recently, there's some rumors. Word on the street is that the Raiders they're in on Mike Vrabel, and there's a possible chance that he could be the next Raiders coach. Now, I heard this early on. I was thinking about it last offseason. I'm like, man, it was a surprise that the Titans moved on from him just because it's not like he was unsuccessful with that team just based off what he had and what he was able to do with them. I think they've had since his tenure with them, they had 3 playoff appearances. Obviously solid defense. You could critique him in some ways, but for the most part, it was a surprise when he was let go by the Titans. There's a connection with him and Brady too. So him and Brady are former teammates. I'm sure they got a good relationship. What do y'all feel about if AP was let go, which is a possibility I could see happening too, just because Mark Davis, and I wish I had the clip. I might have the clip. I might have to play it real quick. But Mark Davis, they had him during a game. Just walk out. you could tell he was frustrated about what happened, and he just ends up leaving the game or whatever. And Mark is known to change his mind, like the weather. You know what I mean? So he'll say, "Oh, Telesco." He believes in Telesco and AP, and they just need time. And then a few games later, a few weeks later, a few months later, he ends up replacing them. So, and then you got obviously the Brady factor. I mean, Turf, if you want to speak to that, do you think Vrabel would be a guy that you would be high on, or is it another? I'm done with the Patriots. Why are we getting former Patriots in the building?
Absolutely not. I mean, the reason you're going to get former Patriots or Patriots-like people now, whether you like it or not, is because your owner is part Patriot, and that's just the way it is, and it's going to be for the foreseeable future. Right. So, if you can't get over that, it's time to ship up and shape out, if you ask me.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. There is only one other coach that I would want right now, if it's not going to be AP, and it's absolutely Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is a dog. He was a dog as a player. He's a dog as a coach. He's a player-type coach, but understands the eye on the prize. And he clearly had success with a not-so-great team in Tennessee for a reason. I have no problem with Mike Vrabel coming into the building and getting it popping. The one thing I wish could happen, and I know it's a pipe dream, would be kind of what they did with, Champ, and, the whole Telesco deal. Why fire the guy? It was a long shot. It didn't work out. Give him his old position back. You know what I mean? Are you going to fire Patrick Graham? See, another thing is people, you want to say, Vrabel is Brady. What is Patrick Graham? Patrick Graham comes from the Patriots coaching tree. It comes from Bill Belichick himself. So again, why is he going to out him? And he's definitely one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. Again, whether you like it or not, that's just what the stats say. So, I mean, all of this stuff makes easy logical sense. And when it makes logical sense is, we get it. It's probably gonna happen.
I do like Dable as an OC. If he brings Dable as an OC,
I take it. Oh man, it's game over. It's game over.
I like that.
It's game over.
I do like that.
I love Dable.
I like that. But
come on,
before you chime in,
coach,
you got no, it's all good. It's all good. No, I'm hey man, I'm all in on Dable as an OC for sure. Severe, before you chime in, let me go ahead and share this real quick. Let me see. Hold up. Let me make this. Let's get this on the screen here. All right. So pretty much, just to give you all context, this is someone recording Mark Davis at the game. Obviously, you can see that this is all on social media. And I guess at some point in the game, he was frustrated, and you could tell he was done with the game. But here it goes. And he's out. Mark is he left the building after that. But just wanted to show that real quick. But just to give context to what we're saying too, because it is true that Mark is the same guy that he was at a Chargers game and the fan was screaming in his face saying fire Josh McDaniels, and he's a use your head. And a few weeks later, he fires Josh McDaniels. Like, you know, it's not that he fired Josh. It's just like, yeah, like if he would have fired him after the season, it would have been like, oh, okay, he gave him the season. He just wanted to play it out. But the fact that it was like a couple of games later, it was just fun. It's like, man, you kind of gave in the pressure almost. But Severe, if you want to speak to like, you know, Mike Vrabel possibly being a coach and maybe possibly hiring Dable. I think Austin threw that in there, but there might be a connection there. Who knows? Brian Dable does have a little bit of connection with Vrabel possibly.
So in terms of Mike Vrabel, I'm not as enthusiastic about it as Turf, or I'm not. In terms of Mike Vrabel, I'm not as enthusiastic as Turf is. I mean, think about it. He took over Tennessee. He took over Tennessee from Malarkey. I think Malarkey had gone like 2 or 3 seasons with like about a 500 record, like either 8-8 or like 9-7, like in that range, right, middle of the pack. And then Vrabel proceeded to go 9-7 his first 2 seasons there. And it wasn't until he got Tannehill and AJ Brown, and then they had like an 11-win season. Then they had a 12-win season, and then those were the 2 like seasons I want to say they got into the playoffs. And then right after that, they fell right back down. I think they had an 8-win season. I think last year they won 6 games, I believe, something like that. So like he had that 2-year window. Think about it, when he had Ryan Tannehill playing at a high level, he had AJ Brown, you know, playing at the peak of his powers, and he had Derrick Henry, who was coming into his own. So he had a solid quarterback, he had a number 1 wide receiver, and he had he had Derrick Henry, you know, the best running back in the league, and I think he had Jonnu Smith around that time too, who at the time was playing like a top 5-ish tight end. So I mean, he had a lot going for him at that time. He got 2 playoff appearances, but that was it. So, I mean, am I ready to give the keys to the car to that guy? You know, based off that small window of success there. If it's just based off relationships, I guess it makes sense. You know, Vrabel, technically he's not from the Belichick coaching tree because he never coached under Belichick. But, you know, like those guys traditionally don't do well. You know, like he didn't coach under him. So, you know, it's a little bit of a different thing with him. Or Brian Flores is probably the only guy out of the coaching tree to really have some success. And even he had like a very, very like small window of success with the Miami team people thought was going to be extremely bad. But, you know, like Vrabel is not at the top of my list. He's not at the top of my list. There are a few guys I would pick over Vrabel.
I wouldn't hate it though.
I gotta give you this though. Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, you got to look at it like this too, though, Severe. I mean, you're talking 2 11+ win seasons when he lost to Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. I mean, come on, dog. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It is a small sample size, but the people he lost to with those seasons he had, I mean, that's kind of could be considered the bad luck of the draw. I mean, Burrow and Jackson, those are arguably the top 5 dudes in the league, bro. I mean,
definitely
Jackson
top 5,
being number 1. So I love Joe Burrow. So I mean, and again, that's what a 5-year, you know, stint. You know, you're right, 9-7. He actually went 9-7, I think 3 years. You know what I mean?
And if you think about it though, he's also think about the division he's in, right? He was in the AFC South, which is the basement. Basically, you know, at one point was the basement division, right? It was the Houston Texans who were struggling, you know, at the time. Then the Jaguars, we all know the Jaguars traditionally are a bad team. And then the Colts, who, you know, like all those teams were, none of them are good teams. So he's doing that in a very weak division as well. So he's coming over here to the House of Horrors when you got, you know, Bo Nix is starting to come into his own with Sean Payton, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They don't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. And then Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh, you know, they're just getting started as well. And now they have a running game with J.K. Dobbins. You know, Quentin Johnson is actually starting to look like a pretty good player. it's not going to be easy for him over here. And he doesn't have a quarterback. And we saw what he did when he didn't have a quarterback with Tennessee in the weak division. He went 97, and that's the exact same record 2 years in a row that the guy that they fired him for had. So did he make an impact initially? No, he didn't. It wasn't until he got that quarterback in Ryan Tannehill that things kind of took off.
I wouldn't consider Ryan Tannehill to be a good quarterback.
I
consider him to be at the bottom of the barrel.
He wasn't. Tannehill got it done. I guess you could call him a game manager. Like he was a game manager for them on the way they were built and the way they were ran, because Derrick Henry was the guy. He was the marquee guy. He was the guy that was winning, having these great games and taking over games. He did go 9-7
receiver in college.
Right. He did go 9-7 his first couple of seasons as a head coach, then 11-5, then 12-5, and then 7-10, 6-11. And in the last two seasons, what happened? The quarterback play
Ryan
went down.
Tannehill fell off. Exactly. Tannehill fell. Ryan Tannehill aged before our eyes, and that was without that court. So he's going to come into a situation now where he doesn't have a quarterback, and then we haven't seen him with a young quarterback, right? They drafted Malik Willis, and that was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to be the future, and then he couldn't develop him, and then he hires people that can't develop. Like he saw what Todd Downing did with the Raiders and said, "You know what? That guy should be my OC." Like that, So people talk about how bad Getsy is. Like Todd Downing is worse. So it's.
I think that's the biggest thing,
whose job is it to hire My
bad. No, go ahead. I thought you was going to. Go ahead, Turf.
I was just going to say, so I don't know whose job it is to hire the OCs and the DCs, and we because again, everyone says AP hired Getsy. That wasn't his first choice, and we all know the facts on why we didn't get Kingsbury or whatever. I don't know. You don't know who's making these choices. So can you say Vrabel was the one that called for that offensive coordinator? And if he did, and he said it out loud, just like AP said, "Hey, I fired old boy." Well, then, obviously I can't vouch for him on that. But we all know how it is, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? These coaching staffs, man, it's all funny. It's all funny games, man. Because you got people that's playing positions in the coaching staff that may necessarily not even want to play that part.
I will say this
and
too.
they become the fall guy.
Yeah, facts. And I will add on to this, to what you're saying too as well. If it's not even just the quarterback, who after that 12-5 season. Because he went 9-7, 9-7, 11-5, 12-5. Remember the OC that was with the Titans at the time when they were winning all these games? It was Arthur Smith. He ended up going and getting a head coaching job with the Falcons for the next couple seasons. And then obviously you just mentioned he hired a bad OC. I don't understand I don't understand the hire. That you could probably say that was a mistake by him for sure. And he knew it was a mistake because I think eventually he took over play calling duties. At some point, I think it was early on in the first season of. I'm trying to forget the OC that was back. That was the Raiders OC back in 2017. He's the current OC for the Jets.
Bill Musgrave?
No, not Musgrave. The guy that we all hate. After Musgrave got fired, or not fired, they didn't bring him back.
Todd Downing.
Todd Downing. He ends up taking play calling duties, and I don't understand that hire. That's definitely a mistake by him, but also Tannehill's not in the NFL. Last season, the last season that Vrabel coached, where is Tannehill? Like
last season, he was in the NFL.
Exactly, and he wasn't even that good to begin with. He was solid. I give him that. Like at times he was solid. Game manager. I'll give him a game manager. I felt like, he had some, he got a little bit of mobility, but once that kind of, as he aged, he lost that a little bit. His arm strength kind of, I think, got a little weaker last season from what I've seen. And he's not back. He's not playing with any NFL team. So it's tough. No matter who the head coach is, they're going to need a quarterback. And if you're telling me Vrabel and Dable are going to be the head coach and OC, I'm not going to be mad at that. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, man, like, because that's a situation where we know that Dable is a solid OC and you give him a young QB to develop, which he's had in the past. And where has he had that? He had that with the Buffalo Bills with obviously Josh Allen. So, and we've seen how that kind of turned out a little bit. But that being said,
I'm all good with Dable.
Yeah,
I'm all good with Dable.
Yeah,
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. I think that OC hire, no matter if it's going to be Vrabel or AP, that OC hire got to be a home run. It got to be a home run, especially if you're going to go with a defensive head coach, because that's what Vrabel is. He is a defensive head coach too, as well. So
yeah, we just seen it right now. We just saw it. How important?
Exactly. But hey, before we even like moving along, man, I wanted to talk about Brock Bowers, man, like the historic start that he's had. I mean, Turf, if you could speak to that a little bit, like, man, like, is he better than what you expected?
He's exactly what I thought when, I did my research after the fact. And, after having my hissy fit and stomping like a 2-year-old when we drafted him.
Right.
I immediately changed my mindset. Yeah, I immediately changed my mindset on him. And we are as lucky gets. And that's my whole point. And, the whole Telesco deal. I mean, we're lucky with him. We're lucky with JPJ. Without Telesco, we don't make those picks. So I don't know, man. I don't want to. Well, for me too. Also, I'm gonna just put this out there. I'm tired of starting over everyone. I'm just tired of it.
Right.
It gets old at some point. God damn it, let somebody work.
Right.
Exactly.
Let somebody work for an extended period of time. Let it flush itself, and then when people lose hope and give up on that individual, move on. But come on, guys. This whole 1 year and you're done, 1.5 years and you're done, 2 years and you're done. You haven't even gotten the full cycle of everyone in that is considered your people in the building. The patience is way too thin.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that, man, we've been having that conversation the last few weeks and how we're like, man, it's just kind of frustrating at this point. Like, we're just watching the Raiders lose and like the type of product that we're seeing year in, year out. And why is that? Because the Raiders don't have any type of structure, because there's no consistency, which is because they don't have any structure. And they have a guy back there who's not willing to be patient sometimes. Last year, obviously, McDaniels, I felt like we all knew that he was going to get fired. But it just, at the end of the day, like, when you keep firing the head coach and the GM, because there are questions that if AP's let go, there's also some people alluding to, like, Telesco might be gone too, which could be interesting because he had a pretty solid draft. He just drafted one of the best players we've seen come out the Raiders draft in a long time. Like, obviously, Max Crosby, but Max Crosby took him a little bit for him to develop to the player he was. And he was picked in the 4th round. So it made sense for him to develop the way he did. But a guy like Brock Bowers, right out the gate, you could say he is the best tight end in the NFL, because he's leading literally all of the categories, all the top receiving categories, from catches to yards, yards after contact. He's everything that they said he was and plus more. He's the number one option on the team. He's getting open with ease. It's not even like, the guy is just, oh man, that was a tough catch. Like, he's just getting open. Like, and they're literally, I think he had 13 catches out of 16. I think he had 16 attempts, or they threw the ball 16 times.
16 targets, something like that. Yeah,
16 targets, and he caught the ball 13 times, man. And he's making it look easy out there. And I hope he's gonna have a chance to win that offensive rookie of the year. But when you play on a bad team, sometimes it might go to the team that with the better record. And, Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to lie, he's doing his thing over there with the Commanders too. Yeah. But, man, if Brock Bowers can continue to do what he does, especially with the quarterback play being the way it is, like we're over here talking about how bad the quarterback play is, and he's putting up historic numbers. So imagine you pair that up with, man, just a little hope, just a little positivity. I just had to, have to throw it in there just a little bit. But yeah, man. I mean, Severe, if you want to speak to this, I mean, Brock Bowers, like, do you think he's going to be the number one option, like moving forward? Like, are they going to build the offense through Brock Bowers and then try to bring in players that complement him?
I mean, I think they should. I mean, I remember when we first drafted him, I know there was questions, and the main question was how would Luke Getsy use him, and then how would he coexist with Devontae Adams? Now, both of those questions are removed, right? We don't have Luke Getsy here anymore, and we don't have Devontae Adams here anymore. And I think that was a big part. That was a big part of my criticism of the pick, just because I didn't feel I feel that some duplication in skill sets between him and Adams, and they kind of worked in the same areas of the field. We just drafted a tight end the year before. But if we bring in a guy that can run 12 personnel effectively, you kind of build your system around a Brock Bowers and use him and Michael Mayer effectively, and bring in a quarterback that's adept at hitting their tight ends. I mean, I think that's a great thing. And I think that even with Luke Getsy, right, we were doing some things to ensure we were putting Brock in the position to succeed. We aren't asking him to do like too much. We're putting him in the proper positions, and I think that needs to continue in the future. And I think that him being, I think he's 21 right now, will be 22 in December. He's still a young guy, still going to develop, still growing into his body. He's going to get bigger, stronger, faster. So I think kind of the sky's the limit in the future, as long as we pair him with a competent quarterback and a good OC. I think he can do great things. Would I say he's best tight end in the league right now? No, I still think Kittle is such like, in terms of receiving, they're very close in terms of ability, but as a blocker, Kittle is infinitely better than him. Can Brock Bowers ever get? I don't think he'll ever be as good of a blocker as Kittle, but he'll be a better receiver than Kittle when it's all said and done.
I don't know, man. I can't agree with that, because I agree with the blocker part, but a receiver, Brock Bowers is better.
He's better.
That's
but
what he said.
It's close. It's close. Yeah, he's better.
You're saying it's close. When I say he's better, I'm saying, like, I don't even think.
Oh, you don't think it's close? You tripping? If you don't think it's close, you tripping.
Nah,
you think it's close? It's tripping, bro.
He's dominating with Minshew and AOC at quarterback.
Kittle was dominating with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G with Kyle Shanahan at OC, getting him open every play.
We don't have a problem. We're scheming Brock.
We don't
open.
have a Kyle Shanahan. We're
scheming Brock open. We're scheming. That's not the issue. We're scheming Brock open, bro. We're scheming him. You just said yourself, he's wide open. He's wide open for a reason. A lot of that is having to do with scheme.
Because he's getting open. He's getting open.
Yeah.
He's getting open at will.
A lot of that is scheme.
And on top of that, he's leading the category that Kittle is supposed to be leading at, right? He's doing this as a 21-year-old rookie.
Why would Kittle be leading that category? Plus, Kittle's missed
because
games.
Kittle has always been known as a yak monster, right? You would think that he's a guy. He's a yards after catch. And Brock Bowers is leading the category. He's leading tight ends. I don't want to say he's leading all players in yak, because I don't know for sure, but I know for a fact it's tight. It might be. I know for a fact it's tight end for sure. Yeah, without a doubt, it's tight end.
But that's my point. We're getting him in positions to catch and run. We're scheming him. We're scheming him into that stuff. Now he has the ability to do it. That's why you scheming him into those positions, because he's a guy that's physically more gifted than 99% of the players that are going to be defending him, whether you put a linebacker on or you put a safety on him. So that's why you scheme him to have those. Like, we ran a pick play for him. That's why he scored the touchdown against Miami. Ran a pick play for him. You give him an opportunity to catch and run the ball. Like, that's what you do when you have a weapon like that. But we're scheming him into those positions.
Hey man, he's the best. He's the best, man. He's the best. I seen enough, man. I seen enough. He's the best, bro. Hey, George Kittle need to stay on the field. He ain't on the field. Kelsey got the best quarterback in the game. If he played anywhere else, his numbers would be even worse than what it is right now.
I got Kittle over Kelsey, so I mean that's not even crazy. Like in my opinion, the conversation is it Brock Bowers or George Kittle? And George Kittle's ability as a receiver is still elite, and his ability as a blocker is best in the game.
I'll give you.
So you're meaning as of right now, not Kittle, not Kelsey from the past.
Yeah, I'm talking about as of right now in the game, and right now. As it stands right now.
Yeah, I was about to say because
Brock ain't done enough
Kelsey
to say.
Prime,
he ain't done it long enough to say. Because remember, like Kyle Pitts first year, Kyle Pitts put up a 1,000-yard season his first year, and then he struggled for 2-3 years after that, and he's just now getting his footing back now that he has a better quarterback because he had Desmond Ridder throwing him the ball those past years. So
did he have 1,000 yards his first season?
Yeah, he had 1,000 yards first year.
I
think
it might have been like Matt Ryan's like last like solid year at quarterback or something like that.
I think it was Matt Ryan's last year, and I think we still had 16 games at the time too, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure, but his first year in the league, he had 1,000 yards. So Brock is going to clear that easy. He should break the record. He's on pace. I think he has like 700 yards right now, so he should break the rookie record set by tight end. I don't know. I think Mike Ditka might have the rookie record for tight end, which is crazy. You think about it, because I think Mike Ditka was playing like in not a passing era, and I think it was only like 15 games back then. But Brock should clear that. Should clear that pretty easily.
Yeah, and you know what too? What's even impressive too? Even when Devontae Adams was on the team, he still was like getting the he still was making the most out of his targets. He still was getting his numbers. I'm just looking at him as like, man, like look, it took me a little time to be like, you know what, Brock Bowers is that dude. I have to see it before I believe it. I understand, like, especially Raider draft picks.
No.
So
he's that guy. Like, we should build our offensive system.
He is that guy, and like he's 21 years old, and maybe a little bit what I'm saying is a little projecting, but he's also like dominating. He's that good. He's right doing it better than anybody else. Like, how can you not say that he's the best tight end right now? He's the best tight end. He's playing the best right now, and you can even say that he's the best tight end, because by next season, like, the quarterback play, we can hope is going to be improved. I think hopefully we can hope that the quarterback play is going to improve. There's going to be a better scheme. You know what I mean? We don't have to have any, like, what we got, Scott Turner, Norv Turner at OC now. Like, are they going to be back here next season? Probably not. But look, I'm
throwing the ball 16 times. I don't think they're throwing the ball 60. The issue's not scheme. The scheme ain't holding them back. Quarterback play maybe, but scheme is not holding them back.
They're throwing it 16 times, and he's 13 of those. I like those percentages.
And he should have 2 tuds. And Minshew missed, and that's goes to the point about quarterback play. Minshew missed them. I think like on the out route, where if Minshew hits him in stride, he probably walks in for another touchdown.
Yeah. Hey, Minshew, oh man, he's so bad. He had Mayer for a touchdown too. He had Mayer from the touchdown, in the second half. Yeah, but we're not gonna even stay on that. But look, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, we got a lot to talk about. Let's move it along, man. Turf, I know you were here last time, and hopefully, I know it's late on your side, so just let us know if you gotta go. But we got flag on the play, man. It's that time. Sir. It is that time for flag on the play, and if you don't know, it's when we have a
69 offense. He was giving them the business.
Is where we have any issues that's going around the NFL with the Raiders. It doesn't matter. And this week, if you want to lead the way with the flag on the play, the first flag.
Yeah. So we were just talking about Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers got his touchdown, and being a young guy, probably on social media, He did a dance that's just is popular right now. It's like I guess they call it the robot dance, but essentially it's the Trump dance. And he received some backlash for it. I think they pulled him out of his media availability, and the league. I think a few other people have done the dance too, and the league is talking about banning the dance, which we all know NFL stands for the No Fun League. Like,
Right.
I don't appreciate them. Like let the guy dance, man. Let the guy dance. It's getting ridiculous at this point with the kind of restrictions they're putting on players. I can understand that first they banned like the throat slash. Okay, maybe that's a violent gesture, but then it's the finger gun, and you kind of that's kind of questionable to me. And now it's the Trump dance. It's like they're kind of overstepping their bounds. They're getting a little bit too involved in the game. Like it's not easy scoring touchdowns in the league. These guys score touchdowns. As long as they're not disrespecting their opponents, let the guys celebrate how they see fit.
Okay. As of right now, they're not doing anything, though. They're not going to be fining or suspending any players for doing the dance or anything like that. But I don't think they should. I think that's a flag for them even speculating. But the NFL,
thinking about.
Yeah, the NFL has just always been, like you said, the no fun league. Like, for a while, like they didn't like players celebrating. Like if you did any type of like
or no
extra celebration. Yeah, and then it was just recently, last few years they brought back, okay, now you can use props and you could, they want to be understanding because it's more of the fans enjoy, like we enjoy when we see the players celebrate and have fun and have a good time. Like I don't know, man. The NFL is just.
It's all about money. Know why that coincides. Know what coincides with the NFL allowing players to start doing dances and start allowing team celebrations and allowing players to go back to the grounds. Before, remember, if you went to the ground and celebrated, it was a penalty. Know what kind of coincided with that? The explosion of TikTok. So now all this stuff is TikTokable. And you put that stuff on TikTok, what does that do? That brings eyes to the league. What does that do? That means money. So it's all about the money, Lebowski. It's at the end of the day, that's what it always is about.
Yeah. So so Brock Bowers did do the celebration, and they did ask him about it, and the Raiders media kind of like, I think they took him away from the Raiders media. You can't find the clip anywhere or the question being asked anywhere. So they definitely don't want the attention that's going to bring. But it is what it is. I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was funny that John Jones the other night did it. I think that was the first time I seen someone do it actually, and I thought it was funny because Trump was actually in the building too. It was a funny moment, but. That's definitely a flag. If the NFL's over here trying to do that, you already know what it is, man. That's what they do. But let's move it along, man. Let's go to the next flag on the play. And the next one, it's the refs calling late offsetting penalties on the Raiders after a play is shown on the Jumbotron. I remember that because it was a penalty on the Dolphins. And all of a sudden, they decided to give the Raiders a penalty, and it was just like, wait, did y'all just? And even the commentators of the game, they caught turf. I don't know do you remember that moment where they, they pretty much had to they pretty much kept it as is. Like they had to repeat the downs, and that was a crazy moment in play. But it's what it is, man. Sometimes, man, it's. Do you think it was one of those things where it was like the Raiders just getting the short end of the stick, so to speak?
Always. Oh, it's always that. It's always the Raiders getting the short end of the stick. That's just par for the course, fellas. That I've learned a long time. We're always going to get the short end of the stick. Thank you, Al Davis. But I mean, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be an NFL if it wasn't for Al Davis. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
But that's the curse you get. That's the gift and the curse. The gift is we got the NFL. The curse is he's the one that forced it. So they stick it to us every time they get a chance.
So I remember the commentators talking about it, and they thought it was interesting that they did that, but then they try to cover it up and talk about like, oh, well, this is the NFL's way of like, trying to make sure they get the play right, and they're gonna make sure that they can look. But I'm like, are they even allowed to do that? They're allowed to look at the replay. They're not even allowed to do that. So
man, that's total nonsense, man. Because if that was the case, we had some games end on missed face mask penalties, right? There was a play, I forgot. I think in that Chiefs Bills game where a guy clearly got face masked and it wasn't called, and they showed that on the jumbotron, and that call wasn't corrected. So it's just the league overstepping their bounds. And it's like it's not in the rule book, right? They got rid of the ability to review penalties. I think they had it for 1 year. Then the competition committee didn't renew the rule, so you can't review it. So that means once you make and I've never seen it where they already make the call on the play. Make the call on the field, announce it to everybody what the original penalty was, and then they show it on the jumbotron. Right? Then the refs get together, discuss it, and all of a sudden now you dropping another flag. You already made the call. So generally, once they already make the call of what the penalty is, it's a dead issue. Move on to the next play. You don't get shown on the jumbotron and then come back and now call offsetting penalties. And I think that ended up leading to a touchdown on that drive. So it's just nonsense, man. It's always the Raiders that stuff like that happens to.
Yeah, it always happens to the Raiders, but especially because the game was pretty competitive up until a certain point. Obviously, that fourth quarter, like they kind of
half, I think.
It was 10-6 at half, and then like that fourth quarter, like the Dolphins like kind of pulled away, and obviously Minshew turned the ball over, throw the interception, and then the wide open it just was it was an avalanche at that point, but. That pretty much wraps up flag on a play, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Raider Vision says, Pharaoh, why can't the Warriors beat the Clippers? Hey, man, stop hating. Stop hating. When's the last time the Clippers won a playoff game? I'm trying to remember. Have they won a playoff series? They might have won. I don't even. No one remembers.
Out here in LA, nobody cares about the Clippers.
No one cares about
absolutely nobody.
They're the Chargers of the NBA.
Stepchild, man. LA stepchild, man. They don't. No one cares. No one cares, man. It is what it is. But let's see what we got. We got people, man. We got people pulling up left and right. We got to get into the chat real quick. Mark needs a white Raider jacket or get all suited up like Tom Brady style. Mark does wear the white Raider jacket. I mean, have we seen Mark kind of dress up? Mark doesn't like wearing suits.
Yeah, we've seen him. But
he's worn suits, but he just
don't.
Yeah. He's just like, you know what? I could wear whatever I want, man. I'm a billionaire. Like, I'm just like,
Mark is like, for wherever, like, maybe it's because he got more of his mom in him, but he's more like a salt of the earth guy. Remember, he drove around in that Plymouth van forever. He used to like use like the app to reserve a table at PF Chang's. Like, bro, you Mark Davis. Like, you going to PF now? You going to some like, some Michelin star restaurant. You going to PF Chang's, right. Like you can walk in and just get a table if you want to, but he's just one of those guys where he's just like, he's an everyman, which is I kind of respect him for that.
Raider Vision says everyone is hyping up the Brock Bowers pick. So you're saying you wouldn't rather have traded with the Jets for Bo Nix? Yeah, we have a good tight end. Whoop-de-woo.
Did somebody just say that they wanted Bo Nix?
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently, Tom Telesco got tricked into not picking Bo Nix. Like, I personally wasn't. I was wrong on Bo Nix. I was not high on Bo Nix. I think Turf was. I think 805 was pretty high on him as well.
High on Bo Nix?
Were you high on Bo Nix? I thought you were high on Bo Nix.
I absolutely hate Bo Nix.
Okay. I thought you were high on Bo Nix. I know 805 was high on him.
I hate Bo Nix. Bo Nix was the last quarterback I wanted. Okay. He was literally the last one, and I thought he'd get drafted in like the third round. Oh, yeah, I'm not eating crow yet because I still don't think he's doing anything amazing. I think he's got a hell of a defense, And you know what I'm saying? Decent running game. Decent, it's and Peyton. So, I mean, it is what it is, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Penix didn't play this weekend, right? He didn't play this weekend, did he?
No, he didn't start. He played like 2 series. I think the first series he had some nice plays, and the second series he was just handoff. So he didn't get to do too much. I honestly, it didn't look like Kirk Cousins was himself. Like they probably had a better shot at winning the game if Penix was playing.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
And Denver got a good defense too. Yeah. I mean, Turf. Who are your quarterbacks coming out in last draft?
Jaden Daniels. I wanted Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And if we couldn't get Jaden Daniels, Caleb was another one that I didn't want. I wanted Jordan Travis late if we could get him late. I was okay with Penix in the second round.
He was hating.
Wow.
He said Penix back. He said Penix goes cut on too much.
This was when I'm just keeping it a beam from when you know what I'm saying? Not now. I'd take Penix yesterday. I'd have took him.
I mean, I guess the question, and this is a good question for the chat too. I mean, knowing what Brock Bowers is, but not knowing what Penix is, would you rather have Penix? Is a bird in the hand worth 2 in the bush? Would you rather have what you have out of Brock Bowers, or would you want to predict the possibility of Penix being one of those top guys?
Hey, Easy's not gonna let this go. He's not gonna let this go. He says, "I remember this YouTube channel shitting on Bowers' pick. Look, we were upset. We were upset that we didn't get a quarterback. Like I don't know how many times like we kept saying that. We're like, man, the frustration from this draft is not getting a quarterback. And guess what? Yeah. We're back to square one. We're realizing, or we already knew, we don't have a quarterback, and you can't win without a quarterback. Yeah. But we never really hated on the Brock Bowers as a player. It was just like, man, we missed out on getting Penix. We thought we were gonna get that player Penix. It is what it is. I thought Jaden Daniels was a long shot. You know what I mean? Number 2 pick. He was just like, there's no way Commanders are not gonna draft. Like they're not. They needed a quarterback. Yeah. They drafted their young QB to Seattle. Forgetting his name. He ended. They do that right before the draft. So it's like all signs point to them basically picking a quarterback.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, who threw.
No, I told everybody. Rundown was mad at everybody and anybody that wouldn't agree that the Commanders weren't going to, take that pick and trade it down. He just didn't want to hear that. And then also he said there was no day they were picking him. He said they were going to pick Drake May. A lot of people thought Drake May would go before Daniels. A lot of people did.
Pharaoh can vouch. Like I was high on Jaden Daniels early. Like I was early. I was also one of the first people saying Caleb Williams lacks the leadership qualities to be a good QB in the league. My 1 and 2 guys were Penix and Jaden Daniels. I thought what made me think that the Commanders might take Drake May is the fact that they did trade Sam Howell because they were friends and teammates at North Carolina. So, you kind of want to remove that conflict of interest there or hey, I'm taking my boy's job. So I thought when I saw that, I was like, okay, hey, hold up. Maybe. And then the fact that, Jaden Daniels, he had that frosty relationship with Adam Peters because Adam Peters, when Ayuk, kind of connected him and Jaden, Adam Peters kind of like low-key shit on him a little bit. And, you can see on draft day, Jaden Daniels was not happy about going there. But back to MBZ. Because we critique a player or we point out weaknesses in their game, doesn't mean we don't like a player. Like we said, Brock Bowers was the 3rd best pass catcher in that draft. Only people I had above him was Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. And right now, look at on a per game basis, Malik Neighbors is putting up better numbers. He's only played 8 games. Brock Bowers has played 10. I think Brock Bowers has like 700 yards. Malik has like 600 something. And they both have horrible quarterbacks. So you can't, that's not the excuse there. So, like we said, Brock Bowers was a talented guy. It's just, it was always an issue of need and fit. And now that we don't have Brock Bowers, now that we don't have Devontae Adams anymore, Brock Bowers is definitely a need. And the way we're utilizing him, we're making sure he fits. So I mean, I think that those were the biggest question marks.
Vibizila says Clippers new stadium is lit. Yeah, I want to check it out. I definitely want to go to that. You been to it, Turf?
I haven't been inside of it. I looked inside of it.
Yeah,
when I went to the game.
The owner is like,
I haven't been in for a game or anything. Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, I heard it's like teched out, decked out, everything. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. It's definitely a great experience. So I want to check that out for sure. Sure. White Tyson says Raiders should grab Brennan Marion from UNLV for OC. Dude is a stud. Okay, little diamond in the rough.
Stud. That dude is a stud, but I don't know if the NFL is ready for that system. He runs what's called like the go. It's like called the go-go offense, and it's his offense. He created himself, but it's a souped up triple option offense. First of all, you need two good running backs, and you need a quarterback that can run, and you need a quarterback that can throw deep. So basically it's a triple option offense, but they have a lot of deep passing concepts in it as well. But I don't know how well that offense. First of all, he's super young. This is like he's only coached at UNLV, so we haven't seen him even be a head coach yet in college. And then I'm not sure he's ready yet to step up to the next level. And I don't think we have the requisite talent to even run that system either.
Yeah, and then too, it would be a super aggressive move for the Raiders, and I don't think the Raiders would want to go with someone. Not that they shouldn't, but like I just can't see Mark Davis co-signing any pick at head coach or OC, I should say head coach, where they don't come with that wow factor as far as like that name. Like he seems to like always go for that name. Maybe that might change with Tom Brady, like kind of like influencing some of the decisions in the building. We'll see. But at OC, I mean, do you think he'll make that jump to the NFL? You think he'll go? I mean, it's UNLV. I mean, that would probably be a bigger move for him.
I think he'll take a college gig first. I mean, personally, when I'm a UCLA fan, unfortunately, so I've been watching bad football, college and NFL. But I wanted him before we hired Eric Bieniemy, because I didn't even think Eric Bieniemy was an option. I wanted him just because I thought we had the weapons on the outside. We have a deep threat that was severely underused under Chip Kelly and J. Mike and J. Michael's third event. And I think we had the quarterbacks, and I thought we had the backs as well to run that system. But they opted to go more pro style with Eric Bieniemy, which is kind of understandable. But like that's a guy I wanted as OC for the Bruins. So I think he'll stick in college. He came up. He was wide receivers coach at Texas under Sarkisian, and then he got the opportunity to coach there at UNLV. He's been there for the past few years, so I think he'll get a head gig in college first, and then after he refines some things, he'll make that leap to the NFL.
We'll see. Hey, Turf, I actually want to ask you this, man. How do you feel about we didn't touch on this. We talked about this last week, but what do you think of Deion possibly coming to the Raiders? Because you don't think it won't happen, and why not? Why do you think it won't happen?
Because the man will never come to the NFL. He doesn't want to coach NFL players. He's said that a million times, and I mean anybody can see that sentiment. Look at the ones that are great, college coaches that tried it and went their ass right back to college and never looked back and never tried to come back. It's only the ones that are literally insane, in my opinion, that keep trying to go back. The Kellys and guys that are, absolute trash coming in doing college stuff. Thank God for social media and everybody now, when they no longer play and they clown the coaches and so forth on who came in thinking they was going to run something, like the Nick Sabans and the Kellys, trying to tell players how to wear their socks and, if they got to shave, all kinds of wild stuff. Like, they had no clue that these are grown-ass men that don't have to listen to you.
Right.
You're just a head coach.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
I gotta listen
No.
to you. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So yes,
And-
no, Deion does not want to come coach in the NFL. There's no amount of money, even if they're giving him his son, he doesn't want to do it. His calling is the kids. He said it a million times.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, there was a question asked to him, not recently, I think a year ago, where speculation was growing, and they asked him, like, would you go to a team that was quarterbacked by your son, like a package deal? And the way he answered the question was like, that's interesting. Like he took a pause and he took his time answering that question, which might imply to some people just looking from the outside looking in, thinking like, hey, that might be the way that he'll get into the NFL. But I don't think the Raiders should go that route, because I think you'll be setting yourself up for failure, because he's only going to be there for his son. And then what type of environment are you going to build where he's going to only, which I have no problem with. Like, I respect that. Like, he's all for his boys, his family, or whatever. But if you're from Raiders perspective, like, you want this to be long-term. You want the head coach to be there long-term. What happens if it doesn't work out at quarterback? What happens if it doesn't work out at head coach? Like, do that mean that they both got to leave? Like, it's just, do you want to create that dynamic? I don't know if the Raiders should go that route, but it's definitely interesting because, hey, I could see a Mark co-signing that deal. You know, there might be a relationship between him and Deion Sanders, and him kind of, I think, working with Shedeur too as well. I think Deion was able to like connect him with Tom, and he was able to work with him. So there might be a little bit of like that's a Tom Brady connection there too. So can it possibly happen? It might happen, but I just don't think it should. It should though, just because of long term. I just think it doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make any sense. But we'll see, man. People in the chat are saying. I think Isaiah was like, "Nah, I live here in Denver. He's not leaving Boulder. They're gonna pay him." And Deion seems like a college coach. I think he seems like that because college coaches they're treated like superstars. So he kind of, so he's able to get that. I mean, and then and his longevity too. I mean, Deion could be there in Colorado for years or whatever football program. You know what? I see him going to Florida State before he goes to the Raiders.
They can use him right now.
Absolutely.
They,
you know what I mean?
They can use him right now. But that's to Turf's point, right? Like when you're a college coach, you're the star of the show. Like you're the guy. You control everything. You have, you pick your players, you pick your staff. You don't want to interact with the boosters, with the alumni. Like you're the guy. When you're in the NFL, the players are the star of the show. And 9 times out of 10, if stuff doesn't go well, you're going to be the person that gets blamed for it. So I don't think he wants to put himself in that situation. And I know you talked about what he said last year. I think he was just asked recently, either today or yesterday, and he said his kids. He has his kickstand down in Colorado, and and basically we say he's like, look, I'm here, I'm resting, I'm chilling, I'm loving what I'm doing here, and I don't plan on going anywhere. And we've seen so many of these college coaches go to the league and flame out, right? Old ball coach Steve Spurrier went to the Redskins at the time, flamed out. Nick Saban, right? Probably the greatest college coach of all time, went to the Dolphins, right? He quit. Like he didn't even make it all the way through. So like the only recent guy I can think of that even had a modicum of success is Jim Harbaugh and like Chip Kelly. But Jim Harbaugh is a guy that actually played in the league. He came up through the ranks of coaching in the NFL as well. So we kind of know he's more familiar with the NFL game than a lot of these coaches are. So I don't see Deion doing it. And then plus, even when Shedeur leaves, he has a guy that's probably going to go to that school, a quarterback named Julian Lewis, who he just decommitted from USC not that long ago. Like he's ESPN has him as like the number 2 quarterback or number 2 player in the country. I think the number 1 or not number 2 quarterback and the And I think rivals have him as like the third or fourth best quarterback in the country. So he's re-upping. And he's been killing it in transfer portal as well, because a lot of people want to go play for Prime. They know it's going to be eyes on them. They're going to get exposure, and they're going to get coaching from one of the greatest players, in NFL history. So I don't think he'd leave the college game to go to the NFL. If anything, like you said, he would leave the Colorado to go to a bigger school that could provide him with more resources.
Hey man, I don't want it to happen, to be honest with you. I just don't think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna be more of a show than actual about winning football games long term. But that's just my take on it. But
Edgar Bonilla, Pete Carroll was a pro coach first. He coached with the Patriots before SC. So he was a pro coach. So he was a pro coach coaching college, not a college coach coaching pros.
Right.
There you go. But look, hey, we're not done. We got notable quotables. And Severe, if you want to give the people, this is where we have a, hold on one second here. Where we play clips, notable quotables that we think are interesting, that that we want to talk about. And Severe, if you want to give the intro to this first clip.
So, if anybody that's ever been in a leadership position, whether that be a manager or a coach or, anything like that, right? You're leading the group. Sometimes you will say a message to the group and put it out there in the atmosphere. It's not directed specifically at anybody, but there is somebody you have in mind for that message, and you may not want to say it directly to that person. And I think this is what Antonio Pierce was doing here in this presser. Maybe he was asked the question about, what's one of the things he's learned being a head coach. And the first word out of his mouth was patience. And that might have been the answer to that particular question, but I think that was also a message being sent to the powers that be in the Raiders organization.
Here we go.
Patience. Because listen, and you hear it from our players, we're putting in the work. I mean, they're in there doing it now in the weight room. We're doing everything, and we're grinding, and you get out there on the.
Oh, my bad.
You put a game plan together, and you go out there, and you're competitive again for another half. 6-10 ball game. And we just got to find a way in that second half, man, to get over this hurdle of not finishing games, either not getting off the field, not finishing drives in the end zone, keeping the opponent off the field on third down, not beating our mistakes with penalties at crucial moments in the game. But I would say the one word is just patience. And it's nothing that nobody wants to hear. Raider Nation doesn't want to hear. I wish the record was flipped. Hell, let's play 500 football. I'd be happy with that. But I think the other part about it, what I'm seeing from our players is that I don't see anybody quitting. I don't see nobody quitting this building. I don't see no quit from our staff. I see everybody just trying to figure out ways and answers in a very fluid situation with injuries and everything else that's going on with our team this year. Patient.
Hey, real quick before Turf, you can chime in on this. I know that if Al Davis was alive, he would have fired AP off of that. When he said I was happy with 500 football, because he fired Tom Cable because they celebrated. Hey, I think when after the last game of the season,
so we're not losers anymore.
We're not losers
anymore.
Yeah, and Al Davis fired him. That's hilarious. But what did you think of the quote here by AP during a recent presser, Turf?
Yeah, I see severe sentiment for sure. I'm telling you, man, that in my opinion, that was Anthony from Southern California. That wasn't Antonio. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing. I don't know if he's ever gonna be able to be truly Antonio. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. And I'm telling you, I'm so stuck on that video from way back, the Chargers game, where he was like, how can we not go for it? I just think he's a puppet, man, and he's doing what he's being told in a lot of ways. And we just won't know. We just won't know until some things come out. And they will eventually at some point. Certain things will come out, whether the team wants it to or not, right? So, when it's all said and done, some of these things will surface. But I'm just not convinced that they're letting a rookie head coach who's never even had an off defensive coordinating position in the NFL just go out there willy-nilly and do what he pleases. I just don't see it.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like, do you think that AP knew this going in, or did he know what he's?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think he knew. You know what? I think he thought it was going to be more of a collective effort. Let me put it to you that way. I think he thought, it's all, hunky dory, the good feel good story, everybody kumbaya. But then when it came down to brass tacks, and it was like, what you mean you want us to give up the first 3 rounds and everything else for this quarterback? We not doing that. I think that's when the first slap of reality and his red flags as far as being considered the head coach started to materialize in his mind. And again, that's when every presser, sometimes you'll get Antonio, but sometimes you'll get Anthony. And I think it's very clear when you see it. I think that was an Anthony, call when it comes to, patience. Him saying he fired Getsy, that was Antonio, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, you can see when he's confident, and then you can see when the body language is like, at least I can. I'm a poker player too, guys. So I'm gonna put that out there. I read people like nobody's business.
Right.
I'm just and I just see the body language. I just see it.
Man, so it sounds like his days might be numbered as the head coach for the Raiders. It seems like, because even firing Lou Getsy, it was a move where he was like, I gotta fire him, or because if I don't win, because it felt like it was a little bit desperate. Because if he doesn't win, then what does that mean for him and his job security moving forward? You know what I mean? Or if he was patient enough, or if he felt like he had a little bit of job security, then he was willing to wait it out with Getsy and let it develop, and then maybe make that change at the end of the season instead of in the middle of the season where it's like, oh, okay, where do you go from here? But yeah, it's tough situation. We'll see, man. I look. Like we began the show, man. It's the issues with Raiders just winning consistently is because of not having stability, not having any type of consistency from having a head coach for more than 1 year or 2 seasons, or having just having that consistency in the building, and we're not having it. Literally we're on if we end up firing AP, and possibly if there was there are rumors here that are implying that AP might not be the only guy that might be let go. Telesco might be part of that, just because, with, Brady coming into the fold and them bringing in a new head coach, they probably want some type of synergy, as Mark said in the past when he hired McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. They probably want some guys that are familiar with each other, because, to be honest with you, like, even the AP and Telesco marriage, like, it felt weird too. Like, it just felt like it was kind of forced. Like, oh, well, let's get, and it's not like Telesco did a bad job. He's done a solid job overall, especially with the draft. But it just feels like a weird season. And Michael Rascon says the year of the tank. Hey man, I ain't got no problem with the tank, man. I have no problem with that. I want us to get, if we're gonna miss the playoffs, I don't want us to go. You know what I mean? I don't want us to get the 18th pick, 16th pick, and we miss the playoffs, and we get like a mid-level player, or you know what I mean? We lucked out, and we got Brock Bowers, who, if it wasn't for like how many quarterbacks that went early, he probably would have went in the top 5, top 10, obviously. So we lucked
quarterbacks
out.
and tackles, and wide receivers rather. So like we got fortunate to be able to get this quarterback class. Is not that quarterback. And the thing about this draft, though, one thing about this draft is that this is a very, very deep draft, and we'll kind of get into that later. We got some questions about that later. This is a very deep draft, even though, and I think people they don't think this is a good draft class just because the quarterback talent is admittedly a step down from what it was last year. That's because last year, like I said, I think Jaden and Penix are two guys that I thought were clear franchise guys. They're going to be lead potential all-pro players once they get a chance to get in there. I don't have those same feelings about Shedeur and Cam. They're both kind of boom or bust guys. I think Shedeur is the safer of the two guys. Cam is more boom or bust, but he has the ability to be one of the best in the league. He also has the ability to be a massive bust, and I think that's kind of the case with a lot of the quarterbacks, whether that be Beck is the guy that's totally fallen off. Ewers is the guy, he's been in Texas for 3 years, been hurt all 3 years. Then he doesn't handle pressure well. Shout out to East Coast Gridiron, bro. We gotta get you on the show. But yeah, Beck, I'm not a fan of Beck. I'm not a fan of Ewers. I like Rourke. I like Jackson Dart, but those guys are, they both come with question marks as well. So, this is essentially, you ask anybody, it's for the most part a 2 quarterback class. Nussmeier's it's only really been good for 1 year. I know that's a guy that's been kind of moving up draft boards lately, but I think he needs to go back to LSU. Like it's not a really not really a good class in my opinion.
Shout out to East Coast Gridiron, man. He says Shedeur threw to the receiver in the same formation I pointed out. Someone watched my breakdown. What up, fellas? Yeah, man. Hey, my guy East Coast Gridiron breaks down film like no other. So definitely check him out on YouTube. Subscribe to the guy. Hopefully we have him on soon too as well. Yeah, we definitely got to get you on the show. Break down some film. But he has a hot take real quick. He says, I think this QB class is great, better than last year, and that's just me.
I think you're an island on that one. You on, I don't know what part of the East Coast you on. I think you're on Coney Island with that one.
100% on it.
Hey, East Coast Gridiron, man. Hey, we're gonna give you a chance, man, to speak on this for sure. We're gonna have you on soon, so definitely remember this moment. I think you think the QB class is great in this upcoming NFL draft compared to last year, which NFL record. What, 6 QBs get taken in top 10?
That's nowhere happening next draft.
Never been done.
It's not gonna even come close. Maybe 4 will get drafted. Maybe, and that would be
in the first round. Yeah, I mean, because Shedeur and Cam for sure.
That would be alarming.
Shedeur and Cam for sure going first round. I can see Beck and Ewers slipping, and maybe Milroe back half of the draft of the first round as well. I can see those 3 guys in the back half of the first round. Remember, 6 went before 10, 6 went before 10, right? Like which college got drafted? Did Bo Nix got drafted at 10 or 11?
10. Bo Nix
drafted at 10. So Bo Nix, he was 10, right? At 10, right? So that's six in the top 10. Like that's not happening. No.
Wait.
No, where did JJ McCarthy go? So it's 5 in the top 10 because JJ McCarthy went after.
Yeah.
Bonus,
let me double check this.
He went to the Vikings.
Yeah, but I think he went. He said he's your number 1 opponent. Yeah, but Bo Nix not better than Jane Daniels. I still don't think. I don't think he's better than Michael Penix.
Not better than Caleb Williams. I mean,
but he's better than I thought he's going to be. I think he's better than I thought he was going to be, though. I thought he was going to be Derek Carr 2.0.
That I'll agree with. He's better than I thought as well, but he's still not the top of the class. He's not even close.
I will put Jaden over him.
So you know what, Bo Nix, I'm lying. Bo Nix got picked number 12. He got picked right before the Raiders picked Brock Bowers. Yeah.
So JJ McCarthy
was number 10. Yep.
Okay. So 5 in the top 10, 6 in the top 15. Yeah,
but 6 in the first 12 picks, man, that's never happened before. Like I've never seen that many quarterbacks. And if you can also make an argument that this might be a trend coming up, because I think teams right now they're going to be going after QBs left and right. We'll see what happens in this upcoming draft, but it's a possibility. Like, well, how many quarterbacks do you think could get picked in the first 15 picks?
2. maybe 3. Maybe if a team really, if a team really falls in love, like really falls in love, because I think they're going to wait on Ewers. He's injury prone. Beck has completely fallen off the face of the earth in terms of prospect. He was a lot of people's number 1 prospect going into the draft. Ewers was probably number 2. I told people preseason Cam Moore was my number 1 guy. After I had reservations about Cam Moore last year. Cam Moore was going to be a mid-round pick last year. So, but I said he was my number 1 guy going into the year. But like chance on Beck, turning back into what they thought about him preseason. Maybe you get 3 in the first 15. But you think about if you had 6 last year go that high for bad teams, a lot of those teams are still bad. They're not going to redraft quarterbacks again.
Well, looking at the upcoming, as it stands today, this is the NFL draft order. Right now, Jacksonville would get the number 1 pick, Tennessee number 2, Cleveland number 3, Giants number 4, and then Vegas in the top 5, man. But it's crazy. Look at the records, man. Each game counts, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Look, every game counts, man. Every game counts because right now, like there's not a lot separating the number 1 pick from literally, like if you can go down all the way down here to top. Literally, I would say from the Jets and up. Jets, Carolina, like it's literally a game. You start winning a few games, you're gonna go all the way down to top 15, and I think the Raiders can't afford to just drop all the way down there. Now, if we're looking at some of these teams, I'll play the other side. Tennessee could possibly use a quarterback. Cleveland could use a quarterback.
Yeah.
The Giants can use a quarterback.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Raiders could use a quarterback. The Jets can use a quarterback. Carolina, you know what I mean? You don't know what they're going to do because, like, they benched the former number 1 pick, Bryce Young, and the way they did it was kind of ruthless. Like, it was on something like, hey, we're moving on. Like, they almost had to go back. They had to go back to Bryce. They had to go back to Bryce. But
I mean, if Sam Darnold not Sam Darnold. Oh, I'm thinking about the Vikings. If the other what's my man's name? The red rifle. TCU. Dang.
You talking about the
Panthers quarterback?
You talking about he was the Bengals quarterback for all them years.
Dang. Well, if he didn't break his thumb, he'd probably still be starting. So I don't think they went back
Andy
to
Dalton.
Bryce.
You're talking about Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I don't think they went back to Bryce to like, oh, let's give them one more. Let's give Bryce one more chance. I think Andy Dalton got into that car accident and he hurt his thumb. Now Bryce he's actually looked better since he's been reinserted as starter. So we'll see. But I just think with the depth, because there's some blue chip prospects in this draft that are non-quarterbacks. So I think some of these teams they'll opt to go other places like Travis Hunter. McMillan is a stud. Will Johnson is a stud. The corner from Notre Dame, who names escaped me, is a stud. Graham from Michigan is a stud. You got the tackle from LSU. Then you got Kelvin Banks. There's like some legit studs in this class. So if it's between the situation where you got a blue chip prospect elsewhere and you got like a quarterback you're not that high on, I think some of these teams will do what the Raiders did and take a Brock Bowers-ish and see if they can figure out quarterback in a different way.
Right. That makes sense. But what I'm saying is this possibly might be a trend with taking a lot of quarterbacks early is like just because you might not be high on quarterbacks, like you weren't high on Bo Nix, and doesn't mean that these teams that are quarterback hungry won't overdraft. You know
True.
what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that some of these teams, there's a lot of these teams, they need a quarterback. Like the Jets need a quarterback. Dallas, they just paid. Obviously, they just paid Dak, but are they happy with Dak? I don't know. New Orleans, the Saints, they need a quarterback. They need to add to that quarterback room.
They won't pick one that early though.
Even Miami, even the Dolphins. I know the Dolphins are like, hey, you know what? Tua can go out any day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the way his injury is set up and the way he just continues to play through his injury, he can easily just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like they could play chess with that pick. So what I'm saying is that like a lot of these teams could definitely pick a quarterback. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like like the best player isn't necessarily the quarterback sometimes, but since the quarterback position is valued so high, like they're going to end up taking a QB, and it happens all the time. But we'll see. I mean, is this a trend? I mean, let us know in the chat. Like, do you think that there's this trend will continue where a lot of quarterbacks are taken early? Let us know in the chat real quick. But let's move on, man. Let's go to the next notable quotable. We're not done with the notable quotables. This one's a good one, man. And it's a little bit longer clip of recent GM Mike Mayock a few weeks ago was on I think he was on a show, and he was asked about Tom Brady and his impact and his influence on Raider decisions moving forward. And he had some interesting comments, and I'm going to go ahead and play the clip real quick.
He's going to really rely on Brady to make some of these decisions?
I don't know. And again, he's a minority owner, and typically minority owners don't have a voice in the building. This is a different guy now. So I think some of the mandates that the NFL put on him as far as his broadcasting career were more predicated on him being a silent minority partner. So the more involved he gets in daily operations, I think the less the networks and the other teams are going to want him involved in television.
And just because you were a great player, and we know Brady's the greatest quarterback ever, doesn't make you a great owner or executive. Like, look at Michael Jordan when he was running an NBA team. But that's tough, and hey, it could overstep your GM, but you got the greatest quarterback of all time. It's like, if you're picking a quarterback, how wouldn't you use that as a resource?
I think using him as a resource is smart. I think having him pick your guys a different conversation. You're paying a general manager and a head coach to make those decisions. So there's some real danger in just bringing in a guy and just saying, hey, you're the guy. You're going to make all. It's one thing to bring them in and say, okay, let's spend a week grinding tape together. And let's talk quarterbacks. Let's talk about what you like about each of these kids and why, what you don't like. And it'd be interesting to even take him out as you evaluate these quarterbacks face to face. When you have private workouts, when you go out to dinner with them, when you try to get to know them as people, that kind of feedback from a guy like Tom Brady, I think would be invaluable. But at a certain point, all I'm saying is I think he's got to make a decision as to what he's going to be. Is he going to be a broadcaster or is he going to be an NFL executive? Because the more he has to say, the more they're going to demand he make a decision.
Man. Mike Mayock, man. He makes some valid points, and I agree, man, because I'm tired of dysfunction. I don't want no drama. I don't want no issues in the building. Will there be disagreements? It happens all the time, but I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. But what I can say is, at the end of the day, like Mike Mayock made some good points, but Turf, my guy, yes, before we let you go, man, let us know your thoughts on the clip real quick.
Yeah, I think it holds some weight because, it's not like he doesn't know the organization. He doesn't know Mark. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think Brady's going to be heavily involved. Every which way till Sunday. Mark is not a football player, a person at all, in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I think he's going to lean heavily on Tom more so than probably everybody else, to be honest. Maybe Telesco. I don't know, man. So let me tell you this. This is a little nugget that I got before I step off. But one of the reasons that he also did this is because of the lack of his legacy. A lot of people don't know or understand he has no children. This has to go to somebody.
Right.
And I think he's chosen who it's going to. So with that being said, why the hell wouldn't you allow this man to come in and do basically whatever he sees fit, as long as those dollar signs are going up? And that's what you're responsible for anyways. So yeah, without a question, I see this as being Tom's baby, for the foreseeable future, and for him to do what he sees fit.
Yeah, it's just like, is that the way to win in today's NFL game? You know what I mean?
He doesn't care about winning, bro. And see, that's the other part, that this last piece, and then I definitely got to run. But hey, people got to remember, this is a toy. This team is a toy for Mark. All of these teams for these billionaires are toys. They don't care. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, they did it just to make money anyways. They could care less. Right? I mean, that's really what it boils down to a lot with some of these owners, man. Mark is not a football dude. He does want to see us win. He does care about these fans, but he's not a football dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like when that's over, that is over, dude. He's not a football dude. So that's the easiest way for me to explain all this stuff. I really do believe Tom is about to own the team outright, or maybe some other partners, maybe do something like Magic Johnson, right? Other people, I don't know, but he has no heirs, so I think it's pretty self-explanatory who he's deciding to line this up to go to. On his
right, man. Well, hey, great take, man. Hey, Turf, man, we appreciate you coming through, especially on late notice, man. Let the people know, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff before you head out.
Absolutely, man. The Ultimate Raider Fan 32 on pretty much all platforms. I have a show tonight at 8 o'clock. I've been doing since 2021 when they opened the doors to fans up in Vegas. I'll be doing it till the day I die, man. Knock on wood. So obviously, love coming on with y'all and all the community as a whole, man. I support all of us, man. Raider Syndicate. You know what it is, man. We pushing out so much content right now. It's ridiculous, bro. All of us, right? And we will be the best content creators of all teams when it's said and done. Just keep on the lookout, man.
I'm not even aware that they create content for other teams, man. I'm just being honest.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Do they even exist?
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, but man,
I appreciate y'all. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. And one day y'all got to come to Mines.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Let us know, man. We'll be there for sure.
Let me know, man. You already know.
All right.
Easy,
right, fellas. Peace, Raider Nation.
All right. Man, that's our guy, Turf, man, coming through, showing us some love, man, and just, hey, I love his takes. Definitely check him out, Ultimate Raider Fan 32 on YouTube. Make sure to go head over there and subscribe to his channel. My mods, if you're still in the building, make sure to post his links. And also follow him all over social media. But the show will continue. Before we wrap it up, man, we want to, Severe, man, what is your take on Mike Mayock and how he kind of broke down how the Raiders should go about the Tom Brady being a minority owner and influencing some of the decisions? Because I agreed with it a little. I agree, not a little bit, but I agreed with it. I think he should be in the conversation, but at the end of the day, you do have a GM and you do have a head coach that you hired to make those decisions. He should be in the process, especially if they respect and value his opinion. What's your take on Mike Mayock and how he kind of laid it out?
Yeah, man, I agree with what he said. I mean, Tom Brady. I mean, we speculated as well. I mean, ironically, what Turf was saying is something we speculated as well. I don't know if we did it on the show or not, but we talked about like Mark Davis not having a son he's looking for somebody to kind of give this thing to. And I think he's going to entrust Tom Brady with more and more responsibility. I was reading something, I think yesterday, where they're saying, like, essentially Mark Davis is already the number 2 guy in terms of decision making with the Raiders, with Mark Davis being the number 1 guy. And we heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Mark Davis himself said he wanted Tom Brady to be, very involved in terms of making football decisions. He also said he wanted him to help them identify a quarterback, right? So we already know he's going to be a part of the process. Now, should he be the guy that says, hey, you know what, I have final say. I want this guy. We're drafting, Shador, even if, like, we don't want that situation, right? We've seen how that can go, wrong. We saw it with the Dolphins, right? Brian Flores, him and his people, they wanted Justin Herbert. They said Justin Herbert was the number 1 quarterback in the draft. The owner down there, they made him draft Tua. We saw it with Frank Reich and Tepper and with Carolina. They said they had C.J. Stroud as their number 1 guy. They wanted to draft him number 1 overall. And then what happened? Tepper made them draft Bryce Young. So, the football people are there to make football decisions. That's the reason why you hired Tom Telesco, because of his ability to draft well. He had drafted well with the Chargers by and large. So at the end of the day, you kind of got to trust him to make that decision. Now, if you don't trust him to make that decision, then he shouldn't be in the job. And that's kind of what we speculated before, where, if Tom Brady is really the guy that's going to be kind of the point man in terms of the football side of things. We know Sandra Douglas Morgan is kind of on the other side. But if Tom Brady is the person on the football side, and then he wants to bring in his own people, or he doesn't trust Tom Telesco, then get rid of him, clean house, and bring in your own people. But then still let those people make the football decisions that you brought them in there to make.
No, I agree 100%. And that goes back to what I've been saying. Man, Raiders just need structure. If they can just figure out that structure, and hopefully they can figure that out with Tom Brady in the fold. But if it's going to be a situation where Tom Brady is like what Mike Mayock was saying, if Tom Brady is going to be the one saying that, hey, we got to pick this guy, then it can go left really quick. So hopefully that's not the case where one guy is making all of the decisions, even though Tom Brady was an all-time great quarterback. But, it's okay to delegate responsibilities and to have structure and have someone do certain responsibilities, because one person can't do everything. I know the Raiders history was built off the great Al Davis, but it's a different game now, man. You got to have a great team. You know what I mean? And that takes more than one person. So, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Hey, Mike Mayock made a great point. That was a good find, Severe. If you haven't already, we're going live on both our channels, so make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. Man, hey, it's been a great show so far. But before we wrap it up, man, we want to do what's real, what's not. And if you guys are not familiar with what's real, what's not, this is where we we say a statement and you guys react to if it's real or not. Obviously, we're going to do the same as well. And that first statement is, go ahead and pull this up here. Brock Bowers should be in the conversation of Offensive Rookie of the Year. So he should be in the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. I thought he was. I thought he was. Yes, this is definitely real. I think he should be. If he's not in that conversation, he definitely should. You can make an argument that he should be winning that award, but it's going to be tough because, these offensive awards usually go to quarterbacks. Like, what I mean? They're going to go give it to the top, quarterback, or even after quarterback, I'll probably say even receiver. You know what I mean? That's like the next favorite position to win that award too.
Sometimes running backs.
Sometimes running backs, you know what I mean? But it's when running back is winning, that means he's dominating. But to go back to Brock Bowers, he's dominating. He's dominating in his position. So Thomas is saying it's real. Severe, what's your take on it?
I think it's real. He should be in the conversation, but he should be on the bottom of that conversation. I think clearly it's Jaden Daniels. At one point, Jaden Daniels was an MVP conversation, right? It's clearly Jaden Daniels. Number 2 for the longest time would have been Malik Neighbors. But I think Bo Nix has kind of overtaken Malik Neighbors in terms of number 2 as the runner-up. And then third is tough. Third is between Malik Neighbors and Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers has slightly better numbers than Malik Neighbors, but Malik Neighbors has been hurt as well. I think Brock Bowers has like 700 yards, 3 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors has 600 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I think you're kind of splitting hairs there. But he definitely deserves to be mentioned. Like I said, I don't think he's a serious candidate to win the award, unfortunately, because it's essentially, as you said, like you have to. It's going to, if you have a quarterback in your class that's doing the things that Jaden Daniels is doing for a team that was picking number 2 overall last year, they're likely going to win that award.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. It's just the way the NFL works, man. It's just the NFL. It's a quarterbacks league. So when it comes to MVP and offensive rookie of the year, and if quarterbacks can play defense, they would dominate the defensive awards too, but they don't. So it's strictly offensive awards. In this case, offensive rookie of the year. There's a couple of good quarterbacks right now. Bo Nix is kind of like, come on, man. Like, I would give Bowers the edge on that one. I understand Jaden Daniels. I definitely understand Jaden Daniels, but like Bo Nix, it's just the consistency of Brock Bowers, like game in, game out. I think game in, game out. I think he's been more consistent than Bo Nix, but Bo Nix has been playing well as of late. So, and we all understand that it is a quarterback's league. So, I can definitely see it being a 2-man race between him and Jaden Daniels when it's all said and done. But man, if he continues to break records. Never say never, man. It's still like 7-8 games left. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Bowers is the best rookie in the NFL. Yeah, I mean,
it's not bad.
I can't get mad at it. But Jaden, no, I'll give Jaden. No, if Jaden was the quarterback of the Raiders, we'll probably be saying a whole different. We'll probably be singing a whole different tune about who the best rookie is in the NFL, but. I think it's between Jaden and Bowers right now, to me. But in reality, as far as who are going to be the top vote getters for that spot, I think it's probably going to be between quarterbacks. And then you mentioned Malik Neighbors.
10 games. Thomas Whittington, 10 games. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You said 10 games for what?
No, he brought up Brock Bowers' stats. He said through 9 games, just through 10 games, I believe.
Oh, through 10 games. Daniel Kim says Bowers is on the national radar because of where he came from despite our record. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That's a good point. So that he might get some help from that, just being that he was from a big college from Georgia. So that might help his case with all obviously his historic season. But I don't know, man. I can't see him overtaking a quarterback. He's definitely in the conversation, but I don't see him overtaking a quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't see it happening either. And like I said, I think it's clearly Jaden. I mean, it's Jaden by a pretty wide margin, in my opinion. Then I would put Bowers and Malik. That's like 1A, 1B for second place. I probably edge Bowers just because he's been healthy the full season. Malik has missed 2 games, but even with missing those 2 games, Bowers only has 2 more. Only has 100 more yards than him. So, so if Malik has a strong finish to the season, which he likely won't because he has Tommy DeVito is going to be a starter. So, or maybe that helps him because Daniel Jones was terrible. So maybe Tommy DeVito being out there kind of helps him. But I think as you kind of said, if you look at the odds, which I haven't looked at, I'm sure the odds are Jaden Daniels by a mile, probably Bo Nix second. Maybe Brock third, but I'm thinking probably more likely Malik is going to probably be third if you look at just the betting odds. But
right,
somebody would have to pull that up. I haven't seen it.
So yeah, we definitely got to see it. But I like I said, and I think we can all agree. I think it's Jaden would have to lose it. Jaden would have to play terrible. Knicks would have to play terrible, and then from there you got to evaluate the next best offensive weapon is. And I think Brock Bowers is probably the next guy. You know what I mean? As of right now, you could say Brock Bowers is probably that next guy after the quarterbacks.
Yeah, if somebody had him second, I wouldn't fight it too much. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have
number two. I like number two, but I just think that like if a quarterback is playing well, it's just they just get an extra boost. They give them like an extra boost just because you play quarterback almost.
Yeah, and like because I'm sure. Watch by, even though he hasn't been playing great, just from the flashes he's shown, Drake May is gonna start getting some love. Because he's had some games where he's played pretty well too. So it's going to be a situation where all those guys are going to kind of start leapfrogging Brock Bowers. It's just because the quarterback position, it's so hard. It's so hard to play. Man. It's so difficult to play.
You know what? Not to cut you off, but you know what those players, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, have over Brock Bowers outside of like numbers? Like numbers, you can argue that Brock Bowers is comparable. Is their teams are winning.
Well, yeah, but outside of Drake May, but yeah. And Malik Labors are losing too.
No, I said Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, definitely,
yeah,
definitely, yeah. And that's definitely part of the narrative, right? When you had a team that was bad and had to draft a quarterback high, and then you start winning immediately, that's definitely like, oh, this is the guy that's doing it. So, but yeah, man, Brock Bowers, he definitely deserves to be in the conversation. I mean, I think he should get all the love and adulations that's been coming his way, because he deserves it all. I think he's going to be the focal point of our offense for years to come. But he may not win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but he's going for sure be a Pro Bowler and maybe even an All-Pro guy, which is crazy for a tight end in their first year, because tight ends have a traditionally very high bust rate in the first round.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and move along to the next what's real, what's not statement here. And like I said, if you guys are joining us, man, you guys just have to react if the statement is real or it's not. So here we go. So it's with this being considered a weak QB class. So this year's quarterback class overall has been considered. Some people might argue it's not, but overall, people are arguing that it's a weak quarterback class. The Raiders should favor trading back for more picks if they get a top 3 selection. Is that real or is it not? Let us know in the chat, man. If this is a weak upcoming QB class and the Raiders get a top 3 selection, the Raiders should probably trade back and get more picks. Is that real or is it not? Let us know. I'm going to say it's not real, man. Come on, man. Definitely not real. I want the Raiders to get a quarterback. And on top of that, I don't believe the Raiders in a situation where there's a solid quarterback talent on the board, they would pass that up. And Telesco, if he's still the GM, I'm not saying that he's not, but like, I did see something that said that he might not be back next year, but which is crazy. But according to Telesco and his history, he doesn't trade back. And if he has a top 3 selection, the guy that takes the best player available, he's not trading back. He's going to take the best player available, and I think in this case, he's going to take he's going to take a quarterback. Like I think everything
point, you're guaranteed, Cam, almost guaranteed. Well, not say guaranteed. Because 3, it depends. So that's where you got to play devil's advocate. Go ahead, I'll cut you off. My fault.
Yeah, I just think there's so many different factors that just point to the Raiders picking a quarterback. If obviously they have a top selection, even if they don't have a top 5 pick, maybe they're right outside the top 10. I think they're going to really try to trade up. Is that something that Telesco does? I think with Brady being in the building, I think he's going to push for that. I think everybody in the building is going to be pushing for that. I think, Telesco's job is on the line. Put it that way. He's gonna figure out a way to get to trade up. So he's gonna have to do that. But that being said, I think that's real. Severe, what's your take on it?
You think it's not real, right?
Oh, I said that it's it's not real. Yeah, trading back. No, it's not real. Not real.
Man, it's tough. It's tough because I think it depends on two things, because we're at the number 3 pick at this point, right? So, or we're top 3. So if we're at 3, there's a very strong possibility that Sanders and Ward go 1 and 2. So in that situation, you definitely trade back. But let's just assume that we have all options available. Shedeur Sanders is there. Cam Ward is there. We have an option to pick one of those 2 guys. Yeah, you should pick one of those 2 guys. I'm very tempted to say trade back, just because this is one of those classes that it is very, like, this draft class is very deep. Like, this can be like a transformative draft class for your team especially if you accumulate picks. And we kind of seen what Telesco was able to do this draft class, even in the later rounds, right? 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounds, he's finding guys. Let's skip over the 5th round, because that dude's trash. But he's finding guys in these later rounds. So I'm very tempted to say trade back, because you can get a top tackle, a top edge rusher. Maybe McMillan. If you trade back, you can take McMillan, who people have compared to Mike Evans, and that gives you a deep threat to pair with Brock Bowers. And then maybe you go 2nd round, and you draft a guy in the 2nd round, or maybe you trade back and then trade back into the back half of the 1st round. And if you like Milroe, you think he's a guy you can develop, you take him. So I'm very tempted to do that. But if all guys are there, I'm taking Cam Ward. I think he has the highest ceiling. He has potential to be an elite quarterback. So that's what I would do. And but Telesco strikes me as a guy that he likes picks. So I think there's a chance if he doesn't like these quarterbacks, or if he likes a guy, and if he likes your work or Jackson Dart, and those guys are probably going to be available in the 2nd. If he feels that way, he might do it. I could see him doing something like that.
Also, another thing for people saying trading back, right? And some people were saying in the chat, well, hey, if the first 2 picks are Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, then we should definitely trade back. But the thing is though, is like your chances of trading back or getting something of value to trade back go really like it decreases so bad when quarterbacks are off the board. Yeah. Like the biggest, like the best value that you can get from a trade back is when there's quarterbacks on the board and a team wants to trade up to get that quarterback. Yeah. So if you're telling me Shedeur and Cam Ward, the top 2 prospects on the board, are gone, you're telling me that you're going to get something of value. I think one of the think about it this way. Remember when McKenzie? I mean, I know some people might say, well, that's because of McKenzie. He couldn't get anything of value. But if you remember that draft where McKenzie traded back to, I think he traded back to draft with the Dolphins, Hayden. Right? To draft DJ Hayden.
Yeah.
There wasn't a quarterback on the board. So imagine if it was a team that was going to trade up to get a quarterback and there was a quarterback on the board. Then the Raiders would get like a massive compensation.
Yeah.
So I just think that in the end, I don't see that happening. I don't see the Raiders trading back. Telesco's never really traded back. The Raiders want a quarterback. They're going to find a way to, if anything, they're going to trade up. They're going to try to trade up and get a quarterback, let alone trade back. So I don't think it's real. But Daniel Kim has a good question here too. But you want to say something before you answer this question?
I won't say in most drafts that will be the case. I think it's a little bit different this draft class because Travis Hunter is a dog. He's a guy that could go, if the Jags are number 1, he could go number 1, right? If the Patriots are high or number 1 pick, he could go number 1 to the Patriots. I think McMillan as well. I think he's a generational talent at wide receiver. So he's a guy people would want to come up for. Some people think that Mason Graham is the best player in this draft. Some other people think Will Johnson is the best player in this draft, regardless of position. So I think it's a little bit different. But like you said, though, like the amount your haul will be considerably less without a quarterback being there, because teams know the value of quarterbacks. And I talked about this before with the Texans. All right, they had Will Anderson higher on their board than C.J. Stroud, but they took C.J. Stroud first and then traded back up to 3 to draft Will Anderson, just because they knew it would be more cost effective to do it that way. So completely agree with your point about, when you don't have a quarterback there, you're not going to get the same kind of value in the trade.
Nah, not at all. And I was gonna say too, like, maybe there's a situation where, like, because this happens all the time, we're like, as fans, we're high on certain players, like, oh man, we should get this guy, the Raiders should get this guy, or this team should get this guy. But at the end of the day, the team has a completely different draft board. You know what I mean? Their big board, top 100 players, it might be completely different from what you view who are the best players, depending on what they value. And let's say Shador, there's a possibility Shador might be on the board and the Raiders are not high on him. It's a hypothetical. I'm just saying hypothetically. They could obviously be high on him, but I'm just saying they might not be high on him. They might be high on Jalen Milroe. You see, then that has me thinking a little bit like maybe they trade down, but then the Telesco comes into play and I'm like, nah, Telesco's probably going to just draft Jalen Milroe right there at that spot.
He better not, bro.
You know what I mean? Where would you take a quarterback like Milroe? At what spot?
I'd take him in the back half of the first round. I mean, Jalen Milroe probably, just in terms of like physical gifts, he's probably like he's out of those guys, he's probably more gifted than all of them. But he's also like the least accomplished thrower. He's by far the youngest. He needs a lot of work, right? He's like, but he's the best athlete. I don't know. He's gonna probably run like a 4.3.
Hey,
he'll probably run a 4.3.
Hey, he might be Anthony Richardson. He might be Anthony Richardson 2.0. You seen what happened to him during the pre-draft process, where like people were saying, "Oh, Anthony Richardson is gonna go in the back half of the first round, second rounder." You know what I mean? But as soon as that pre-draft process started, went number 4 to the Colts.
Exactly. So that's why I said I would personally take him in the back half of the first round, but I can definitely see somebody else, taking him early, taking the chance on him, because like I said, he has all those physical tools, and everybody says it. Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer, everybody said he is just an extremely hard worker. Like all he cares about is ball, trying to get better. So he's a guy that when you take those physical gifts and you take that kind of work ethic, you can generally do some really good things.
Yeah. John Sanders, at least you don't have to worry about Jacksonville picking a QB. Lawrence is locked up for a while. I mean, as of right now, the way it's set up right now, it's technically Jaguars have the number 1 pick, but that being said, things could change. But there's so many teams that are 2-8, 2-7, 3-7, 3-8. Like it's like, man, like we won't really know. We really won't know what the order will be until the end of the season. That's how close it is right now. Like you can't really project one team will be have the number 1 pick right now or a top 3 pick right now. It's going to come down to the wire. There's a lot of bad teams right now. But yeah, make sure. Hey, D Menace, man, my guy, one of my mods, man. He says, hit that like button, nation, man. Make sure to clock in.
Exactly, clock out.
Hey, at this point, clock out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Thomas says, no way we aren't high on Shador. Tom Brady has met. Yeah, it was a hypothetical. I'm not saying that was true. I was just trying to throw it out there. Like this always happens. Like weeks. Like for example, everybody thought that the Raiders were gonna pick that left tackle. Man, he's left tackle for the Vikings. I think he's left tackle for the Vikings. He's out for the season. Everybody thought that the Raiders were gonna get Darisaw. He was on the board. Everybody had him the top tackle on the board. Who the Raiders draft? You know what I mean? Should we rewind? Should we rewind back to that moment? You know what I mean?
We don't want to relive that.
Let's just rewind it back. You know what I mean? The Raiders end up drafting Alex Leatherwood because that was their top tackle on the board. So what I'm saying is that's the point I was trying to make. I'm not trying to say that Shedeur is not going to be a guy that they're not high on, but hey, certain teams might be higher on Jalen Milroe, might be higher on just because of the traits that Milroe has, or you know what I mean. Cam Ward might be the guy that they like because they feel like he's a dog at that position. You know what I mean. He got probably a good overall tools to be successful at that position, but we don't know at the end of the day. You might be high on a Shedeur, but I'm just saying. Yeah, exactly. I was just throwing a hypothetical. That's all it was. But hey, man, it's been a great show. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
Yeah, what's up, man? Y'all know what it is. At the Severe Raider on YouTube, on X, on IG, on Snapchat, on TikTok. Basically everywhere you can find me, it's going to be at the Severe Raider. You catch me every Tuesday. I do a show about 4:30ish with my guy 805 and Chris from Protect the Shield. You already know about the 50/50 show. You watching it right now. One of the coldest shows on all of YouTube. So make sure y'all clock in, clock out on the way out of here. Then Friday, me and my guy Pharaoh and my other boy, my brother from another Big Mike, we got Around the Shield going. We talk Raiders. We do game picks. I'm dominating. 7-3-8 season. But make sure. I'm about to do some solo stuff too, man. Just time crunch. I'm probably just gonna start dropping pre-records. Probably what I'm gonna have to do. So I don't think I'll be able to fit another live in here while my son has football season. But yeah, man. One thing I will say, right? If you guys enjoyed what y'all saw today, if you liked anything, if you learned anything, if you thought it was a good conversation, please share this with 3 of your Raider buddies. And if you didn't like what you saw today, you hated it, you thought we were stupid, please send this to 3 of your Raider buddies and tell them how much you hate us. But either way, make sure you send this to 3 of your Raider buddies.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, it's really that simple. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You can find me all over social media, PharoahNFL, PharoahNFL. But most importantly, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to both channels, man. Like, we go live every week, 50/50 show. Pretty much same time, around the same time, evening nights, 50/50 show. Then obviously later this week, we're going to do Around the Shield. We drop that every Friday evenings with Big Mike Raider and obviously Severe. But make sure to follow us all over social media as far as Around the Shield. Around the Shield is where you can see podcast clips, Raider memes, latest on Raider news, all that good stuff on X and IG. Make sure to give us a big follow there. And also, make sure to check out the 50/50 shop, man. We are live. We are open, man. We got some Raiders gear. I'm actually wearing a Raiders hoodie or 50/50 hoodie, man. So make sure to check us out, man. It's that time of the year, man. It's getting chilly, so make sure to grab your hoodie. Check out the 50/50 shop.printify.me and get the latest and greatest from there, and all that good stuff. I'm trying to think, am I leaving anything out? Just be on the lookout for new content as well, man. I got to get back on it. Got a whole lot of things going off of YouTube, but definitely need to get back on it. As you can see, I'm under construction right now in the background. You know what I mean? It's gotta reconstruct some stuff, but we're gonna get that going soon. But yeah, man, hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. Severe, is anything I'm leaving out? Anything you want to leave the people with?
No, man, I know some people are asking some questions real quick in the chat. Somebody asked about Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. I don't think we take a pass rusher that high. Somebody else asked about, who else we got? Somebody else asked another question about another guy. But do I think Ewers is going to be a bust? Yeah, I think Ewers is a guy that he needs a clean pocket to be effective, and he's injury prone as well. So, and I'm not really a big fan of Ewers either. So just be on the lookout for more content from us, though. make sure y'all clock in, man. Make sure you hit the notification bells. It's about to be a crazy time. We don't know what can happen. Mark Davis is a very volatile owner, as we've seen in the past. He can fire a coach on a whim. So be prepared. We can go live at any minute. Also, make sure y'all go and follow Around the Shield on all social media platforms. For your latest, greatest Raider news, rumors, memes, clips of the show, all that stuff. And as Pharaoh already said, man, cop you some merch, man. If you ain't done it already, do it. What you waiting for?
Man, what you waiting for? And then also, I forgot to mention, man. Hey, man, we had a great guest today, Ultimate Raider Fan 32 Turf. Make sure to give him a follow on social media, but most importantly, make sure to subscribe to his channel, YouTube channel. We appreciate him coming through, especially on late notice. And be on the lookout, man. We're gonna have some guests moving forward, man. We got to we got to bring different perspectives. We like to bring different perspectives to the show. And we're going to be doing that a lot, especially with the season going the way it is, man. We need some answers. We need some different insights and what's going to happen with the Raiders. So definitely look forward to us collabing with a lot of different people and having some guests, some good guests. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Appreciate everybody coming through. We see y'all supporting us. Another way to support us outside of liking the video and subscribing, leave a comment after the video and let us know what you thought of the show, what you think of the team, what's your thoughts on some of the conversation that we had today, all that good stuff, man. We read the comments, but we appreciate everybody coming through, man. I guess that's it, man. We hit like 2 hours, man. God, man, time flies by.
Oh, know what, man? I forgot to say this. 7 3/8.
Man, hey, look, this dude always always has to throw in a little jab. But you know what? Hey, stay tuned, man. Around the Shield, man. I'm gonna talk my trash over there, man. But we out, man. Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.